A soft selection for a selected component in a transform mode can be enabled when you enter the proportional mode. You can access the proportional mode either by going to the MCP and clicking on Prop, or by going to the Model toolbar under Modify Component, Proportional. Once you have a component selected and you are within a transform component, you can either move, scale, or rotate a component. You can see that the transform is divided, or you kind of get this fall off radius coming off from your transform. If we hit 8 and go inside the history of our object, you can see that we have this move proportional enabled, and you can see you have various options that you can tweak with. You can set your options before you make your move or after the fact. So in this case, we are modifying this move that we have already made, and you can see that there are a few options available to you. You have the slide on surface command, which will try to maintain the same silhouette that you have when you made the move. You have this global reference, which you can change the reference of your move. You have your distance limit, which will effectively change the radius of your proportional tool. You have your fall off, which will change the rate that the fall off will happen. And you have this option, Consider Neighborhood, which we'll check out in just a second. And you also have your fall off profile, which you can modify this F curve and modify your final shape. So if we go ahead here and get kind of a more of a round shape, and let's add a few more keyframes. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and add a keyframe here. So you can see that if we select these guys and change our tangents, maybe let's do a linear, and then add another point, then move these guys, you can see that you're able to get interesting shapes. Now by default within my current settings, I have all new curves generated to have a stepped to be a stepped curve. So that's why you can see that all my curves ended up, all my new curves ended up with this kind of stepped look. So I can just go ahead here and turn on to a Bezier kind of handle here. So so now you can see that my settings for my proportional tool end up looking like this. You also have this. Okay. Well, there was a setting that I did skip. If you look at the Consider Neighborhood option, if we go to our proportional setup options by right mouse button click the proportional, or by going to component proportional setup, you can set the options for your move before you move it. So by default, we have this Consider Neighborhood turned off, and you can see if I were to grab any points over here, it's going to grab all the points within my range. So in this case, I'm using my tweak tool, my tweak component tool, in conjunction with my proportional tool, and I'm able to go ahead and just kind of sculpt this movement. If I turn on Consider Neighborhood, it's going to look at essentially the topology to decide whether or not the verts are within range. So in this case, I'm able to bring these guys super close together, and you can see that there is no bleeding over in the selection. It's pretty useful when you want to isolate certain areas, like in mouths and such. So that is the proportional modeling tool. Just an added note for using the proportional modeling tool: if you would like to change your radius within your proportional range, you can either use the R left mouse button drag hotkey, or you can use the, if you're using 6.5 or earlier, you can use the middle mouse button drag hotkey.